America had a black middle class here, then it vanished. This is the true story. It's 1958 in Prince George's County, Maryland. A black man named Mr. Lee leaves his split-level home before sunrise. He works down at the plant supplying parts tied to federal contracts just outside Washington. His wife works part-time at the post office. They bought the house 5 years earlier with a VA loan. He has worked at that facility for nearly 40 years and is just a few years shy of retirement. He talks often about taking his wife of 40 years to Cancun. They saved carefully. They avoided debt. They did everything this country said would lead to stability. Then the letter arrives. The plant is restructuring. Production is moving, first out of state, then possibly out of the country. His pension is frozen. Healthcare premiums spike. The trip never happens. Within 5 years, the house is gone. Multiply that across thousands of households and a pattern emerges. So what happened to the black middle class? Prince George's County was supposed to be proof that it existed, that black labor, black wages, and black discipline could finally build something lasting. By the 1990s, it had become the richest majority black county in the United States. Teachers, postal workers, city clerks, retired military. Lawns were trimmed, mortgages were paid. Kids went to college and came home with degrees. Now those same neighborhoods are filled with foreclosure signs, cash buyer real estate flyers, and rental conversions. What used to be passed down is being sold off. What happened wasn't sudden, but it was deliberate. The story starts long before the 1990s. In the 1800s, Prince George's County was tobacco land. Wealth came from slavery. Enslaved black labor built the agricultural economy that enriched white landowners. WPA records include testimony from Dennis Sims, born enslaved in Contee, Maryland. He recalled working from sunrise to sunset and being flogged for missing quotas. After emancipation, that same land remained in white hands. Freedom came without wealth transfer. No land, no tools, just laws to keep the hierarchy in place. Segregation was enforced through policy. Schools were separate and underfunded. Black children in the county didn't attend well-equipped public schools. They attended makeshift facilities until their parents forced the state's hand. Marlboro Colored High School opened in 1923 only because black families demanded it. Rosenwald schools spread across the region, built not by the state, but by local effort and private donations. Education was never freely given. It had to be wrestled into existence. After World War II, everything seemed to shift. Federal expansion flooded the D.C. area with stable jobs. Agencies hired clerks, janitors, analysts, technicians. The Postal Service boomed. Military veterans used GI Bill benefits to buy homes in the suburbs, and Prince George's County became a target for black families priced out or locked out of Washington, D.C. By the 1960s, black middle-class families were flooding into communities like Seat Pleasant, Landover, and Glenarden. Brick ramblers and raised ranches filled the streets. Mortgages were stable. Pensions were real. Federal jobs offered health care, retirement, and promotion tracks. The only thing needed was time, and black people had been waiting long enough. By the 1980s, the data was undeniable. Prince George's had the highest concentration of wealthy black households in the nation. These weren't entertainers or athletes. They were federal employees, postal workers, teachers, defense contractors, and retirees. On paper, it looked like the system had finally worked. Then the bottom started moving. Manufacturing in the mid-Atlantic declined in the late 1970s. Plant closures and corporate consolidation swept through the region. In the 1980s and 90s, trade deals and outsourcing accelerated job loss. Union power collapsed. Stable jobs were replaced with temp work. Pensions disappeared. 401ks became the new normal, but without matching guarantees. Even the federal government changed. Instead of hiring directly, agencies began contracting out entire departments, cutting benefits, erasing job security, and widening the cracks in what had once been a solid structure. Then came the housing crash. In 2008, Prince George's County became a foreclosure capital. The Center for Responsible Lending and Urban Institute both confirmed it. Black homeowners in the county were disproportionately targeted with subprime loans, even when they qualified for better terms. These were not irresponsible buyers. They were teachers, public sector workers, and military families, sold high-risk mortgages by design. When the housing market collapsed, so did the equity. And for Black families, that was the primary source of generational wealth. The stock market bounced back. Home values in white suburbs rebounded. In Prince George's, the damage stuck. Homes were auctioned. LLCs bought entire blocks. Properties that had been owned for decades were turned into rentals. Older residents stayed, but now paid rent to corporate landlords. Their children could no longer afford to buy in. Some moved south, others never came back. By 2020, the census still showed Prince George's as a Black county. The population hadn't shifted dramatically, but ownership had. What used to be inherited was now leased. What used to be earned was now erased. The Black middle class here didn't vanish all at once. It was slowly extracted. The jobs changed. The benefits vanished. The wealth was siphoned off through financial products designed to implode, and the county that had once been a model of post-segregation success was left standing, but with less power, less property, and more debt. This wasn't a tragedy. It was a process, a profitable one. The middle class was permitted to rise just long enough to be monetized, and then dismantled when the system shifted. If this could happen in Prince George's County, the richest Black county in America, then it was never about individual failure. The truth of the matter was that it was about access, containment, and control. Scope News tells the truth. Here are the facts. This report draws from U.S. Census data, WPA slave narratives, including Dennis Sims of Conti, foreclosure records and subprime lending reports by the Center for Responsible Lending, Urban Institute housing data, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission historical archives, and documented labor trends on union decline, pension restructuring, and federal job outsourcing. Mr. Lee's story is a composite reflection of real accounts from Prince George's residents affected by long-term economic displacement. This Scope News episode is intended for educational, informational, and commentary purposes. Viewer discretion is advised. All historical data, policy references, and economic records are drawn from publicly available sources and verified research. Personal anecdotes may be composited to represent wider documented trends. Scope News does not offer legal or financial advice. Thank you so much for watching Scope News.